Hey everyone, welcome back. Ready to dive into another career deep dive. Today we're tackling corrosion technicians, and let me tell you, the RoleCatcher resources are fascinating.
Absolutely. This is a field that's just exploding right now, and we're going to break it all down for you from what the job really entails to how to absolutely ace that interview.
I'm excited to dig in. This whole smart pipeline thing has me really intrigued. But first things first, can you give us a quick rundown of what a corrosion technician actually does?
Sure, imagine this. You're like a pipeline superhero, right? Your mission, making sure those pipelines are in tip-top shape, preventing any leaks, and keeping everything running smoothly.
So it's all about safety and keeping things in check.
Exactly. It's about using your expertise, doing inspections, repairs, analyzing soil. You're basically a detective for corrosion.
I love that analogy. And speaking of fascinating, those smart pipelines mentioned in the career guide, what's the deal with those?
It's like something out of a sci-fi movie, but it's real. These pipelines actually have sensors that can detect even the tiniest little leaks. In real time, they use all this data and AI to predict problems before they even happen.
Wow, that's incredible. Talk about cutting-edge technology. And speaking of good news, the guide also mentioned that corrosion technicians are in super high demand right now.
You got it. This industry is only getting bigger, which means skilled corrosion technicians. They're worth their weight in gold. That's why we're here to help you nail that interview.
Okay, so let's get down to business. What's the first interview question our listeners should be ready for?
All right, get ready for this. What inspired you to pursue a career in corrosion technology?
Classic. So they want to know what makes you tick, right? What are they really looking for here?
Passion. They want to see that spark, that you're not just here for the paycheck, but that you genuinely find this field interesting.
So how do you answer that authentically?
Think back to what first got you hooked. Was it science? Engineering? Maybe it was that cool technology like the smart pipelines we talked about.
What if it was something as simple as knowing someone in the field?
That's a great start. Talk about what fascinated you about their work, how it matched up with your own interests and skills.
The guide also mentioned avoiding vague answers. So instead of just saying, I'm good at math and science, how can our listeners spice things up?
Specifics. Did a school project pique your interest in how things break down? Ever try to fix a rusty bike and wonder about the process?
Right. Connect those skills to a genuine interest. That's where RoleCatcher's AI can be a game changer, right?
100%. Type in your answer, get personalized feedback. It might suggest adding a specific example or rephrasing something for impact.
Okay, love it. Next question.
All right, let's get a little technical. What experience do you have with corrosion monitoring and testing?
Time to show off those skills.
You got it. This is where you highlight your hands-on experience, any specific testing methods or equipment you've worked with.
What if you're fresh out of school?
No worries. Think back to coursework, internships, even personal projects. Any lab experience with corrosion experiments, research projects.
The career guide mentions soil analysis as a key skill. Could that work?
Absolutely. Even if it's not directly related to corrosion, it shows you understand how the environment plays a role.
I also noticed the guide emphasizes using specific examples, so how much detail is too much?
It's a balance, right? Be concise, but give enough detail to prove your expertise. Don't just say corrosion meter. Explain how you used it, what you learned.
And another chance for RoleCatcher's AI to work its magic.
Spot on. The AI can help you find that sweet spot with details, add more where needed, trim things down if you're getting too wordy.
Love it. Next question.
Can you describe a time when you had to work on a team to solve a corrosion-related problem?
Teamwork. What are they really assessing here?
They want to know you can collaborate, communicate clearly, and be a valuable team player. This is huge in corrosion, where projects often involve multiple teams.
So how do you pick the right example?
Think of a time you overcame a challenge with others. It doesn't have to be massive. Even a small group project from school can work if you highlight the right things.
Like what?
Use the STAR method. Situation, task, action, result. Describe the situation, your role, the task, the actions you took, and the positive outcome.
So paint a picture. Show them your teamwork in action.
Yes, and don't forget to mention what you learned. Communication, problem solving, conflict resolution, those are gold.
And another chance to slip in how RoleCatcher's features could have helped.
You bet. Maybe using RoleCatcher's video practice with a friend to refine a presentation, or how the AI feedback streamlined your initial brainstorming.
Subtle and effective. I like it. Next
Uh,
question.
All right, this one's all about that technical knowledge.
Hmm.
Explain the concept of cathodic protection and how it is used to prevent corrosion.
Time to shine. This one seems pretty straightforward.
It is, but don't underestimate a clear and concise explanation. They're checking your ability to communicate technical stuff effectively.
Okay, so what's the key?
Start with a simple definition, like you're talking to someone who's never even heard of it. Then, give a real-world example, pipelines, ships, bridges, something relevant to the job you want.
And for bonus points?
Mention you used RoleCatcher to brush up on the specifics, shows initiative and preparation.
Smart. All right, what's next?
Let's change gears. Describe a time you failed and what you learned from it.
Ah, the classic failure question. What's the angle here?
It's about how you handle setbacks, how you learn and grow. Everyone makes mistakes. It's what you do afterward that matters.
How do you choose the right failure to talk about?
Pick one where you learned something valuable, even if the outcome wasn't ideal. A small misstep on a project, a time you didn't meet a personal goal, you decide.
And how do you spin it positively?
Focus on the takeaways. What did you learn? How did it help you grow professionally? Did it change how you approach problems or make decisions?
Turning a negative into a positive.
Exactly. Honesty and vulnerability go a long way. It shows self-awareness.
And maybe mention using RoleCatcher's feedback to analyze past situations and improve.
See, you're a natural. Subtle, but effective.
Gotta love those subtle plugs. Okay, hit me with the next one.
How do you stay up to date on the latest advancements in technologies in corrosion prevention?
Staying ahead of the game. Love it. In a field that's constantly evolving, this is huge.
You said it. Shows you're proactive, curious, dedicated to learning, all essential for a corrosion technician.
How do you show you're not stuck in the past?
Talk about how you stay informed, industry magazines, journals, conferences, webinars, anything you use.
What about online resources?
Huge. Mention websites, forums, online communities you follow, and of course, RoleCatcher.
Of course, how could we forget?
Their career guide is fantastic for staying current, and the AI newsfeed can even tailor updates to your interests.
So it's like a personalized news stream for your career. We've got traditional resources, online platforms, and RoleCatcher anything else.
Be specific. Don't just say, I read magazines. Mention a recent article that caught your eye, a technology you're excited about.
Show them you're not just passively reading, but actively engaging, looking to learn.
Exactly. And if you're part of any professional organizations like NACE International, definitely mention that too.
Shows commitment and provides opportunities. Okay, great tips. Next question, bring it on.
How do you handle a situation where you need to make a critical decision about corrosion prevention, but you don't have all the information you need?
Oh, a real-life dilemma. Sometimes you just have to make the call, even with limited info. What are they looking for here?
Critical thinking, risk assessment, good judgment under pressure. It's not about having all the answers, but knowing how to handle uncertainty.
Okay, so how do you answer confidently?
Structure is key. Okay. First, acknowledge the challenge. Then outline the steps you'd take to gather as much relevant data as possible.
Consulting industry standards, talking to colleagues, maybe even using RoleCatcher's database for case studies.
Yes. Show them you're resourceful. Then explain how you'd weigh the risks and benefits of different solutions using your judgment and expertise.
So gather information, analyze, and make the best call with the evidence you have.
You got it. And it's okay to say you might need to consult with more experienced colleagues before making that final decision.
It's about making the safest, most effective choice, even if it means asking for help. This has been amazing. Any last thoughts before we move on?
Remember, preparation is key. Practice those answers, get comfortable with those questions, and use the amazing resources RoleCatcher offers. It's like having a career coach by your side.
I love it. Well said. Now let's take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll tackle even more interview questions and explore how RoleCatcher can help you land that dream job as a corrosion technician. Stay tuned.
Welcome back, everyone. Let's dive back into those interview questions, shall we?
Let's do it. What other questions should our listeners be prepared to knock out of the park?
All right, here's a common one. Tell us about a time you had to deal with a difficult coworker or client. How did you handle the situation?
Ah, the people skills question. Because technical expertise is important, but so is navigating different personalities, right?
Absolutely. You've got to be able to work effectively with everyone, no matter what. So in this one, they're really looking at your conflict resolution skills.
Okay, so how do you answer this without sounding like you're bad-mouthing someone from your past?
It's all about staying positive. Choose a situation where you were able to resolve a disagreement or find common ground, even with someone who had different viewpoint. Highlight how you were able to work together effectively despite the challenges.
What kind of situation would be a good example here?
It really could be anything, from a disagreement over a deadline to a difference of opinion on a technical issue. The key is to focus on your approach. Did you stay calm? Did you listen actively? Did you try to find a solution that worked for everyone?
So it's less about the specifics of the situation and more about showcasing your problem-solving and communication skills.
Exactly. And just like with those other questions, don't forget to mention what you learned from the experience. Did it make you a better communicator? Did you gain a new perspective?
Great point.
Why not?
And this feels like another opportunity to mention how RoleCatcher can help, am I right?
You know it. RoleCatcher can actually help you analyze your responses to these kinds of behavioral questions, just like it does with the technical ones.
Right. Maybe it suggests ways to make your language more diplomatic or gives you tips on how to come across as more understanding and empathetic.
Precisely. It's like having a communication coach right there with you.
This is great stuff. I'm ready for the next challenge. What else we got?
All right, let's talk about the salary question. What are your salary expectations?
Ooh, yeah, that one. Could be a little awkward to talk about money, but it's important to be prepared.
It is. And it's your chance to show that you know your worth and what you bring to the table.
So how do you approach this strategically?
Research is key here. Use websites like Glassdoor or Salary.com to get an idea of the salary range for similar positions in your area. Don't be afraid to factor in your skills and experience when figuring out your range.
It's about knowing your worth, like you said. But what if the interviewer's offer is lower than you were hoping for?
That's when negotiation comes in. It's perfectly fine to negotiate, but be prepared to back up your desired salary with concrete examples of your skills and accomplishments. And remember, negotiation isn't always just about the number on the paycheck. You can also talk about things like benefits or professional development opportunities.
That's a great point. It's about finding the right overall package for you. And maybe, just maybe, you could even mention that you use RoleCatcher to research salary ranges and get tips on negotiation.
Subtle and effective. You're really getting the hang of this.
I'm trying. Okay, ready for the final question in this section?
Absolutely. Let's wrap things up with a classic closing question. Do you have any questions for us?
This is your chance to show them you're really interested and that you've done your homework.
Exactly. It's an opportunity to dig deeper and get a feel for the company culture, the team, and the day-to-day realities of the job.
So what kind of questions should our listeners ask to really make a good impression?
Avoid questions that could easily be answered online. Instead, ask about things that show you're genuinely curious and want to learn more. For example, you could ask about the company's commitment to innovation or sustainability in corrosion prevention, or maybe inquire about opportunities for professional development within the company.
And if they use RoleCatcher to learn more about the company or its employees, they can definitely mention that too, right?
For sure. It shows initiative and a genuine interest.
Okay, this has been incredibly helpful. I feel much more prepared to tackle those interview questions now. What's next?
Well, I've got one final thought-provoking question for your listeners before we wrap up this deep dive completely. Ready for it?
You bet. Hit me with it. Okay, I'm ready. What's this final brain teaser?
The career guide, the one we've been dissecting today, it mentions how much corrosion technology is advancing. So here's my question for you listening. What part of this field really gets you fired up right now? And what would you do to, really dig into it?
Wow, that's a good one. It's like you're challenging everyone to think beyond the interview, to think about their future in this field, how they can make a real impact.
Exactly. The best corrosion technicians aren't just good at the technical stuff, they're passionate, always looking for ways to improve things, to innovate.
So it's not just about getting the job, but about building a career you're excited about.
That's it. And the great thing about this field is that there's always something new to learn, new challenges to take on.
This has been awesome. We've covered so much ground, from tough interview questions to the future of corrosion technology, and of course, how RoleCatcher can help you every step of the way.
Couldn't have said it better myself. So remember, prep hard, bring that passion, and don't forget about RoleCatcher. It's like having a secret weapon in your back pocket.
Love it. Go get him, everyone. And be sure to check out RoleCatcher for all your career prep needs. We'll see you next time for another deep dive.